everyone, it's Kimber Schaefer here with Rage in the Cage OKC News, and it is almost fight time. Rage in the Cage 64 going down March 22nd at the Lucky Star Casino in Clinton, Oklahoma, and I have the pleasure of having Austin McCourtie right here with me. He is coming back for another fight. He's had some trouble. We've had a couple of fighters already fall through, and we are now working on a replacement fighter for Austin as we are recording this interview today. So hopefully by the time you guys see it, we have a fighter and we've got a fight. So Austin, I mean, you made your debut fight for Rage in the Cage. I know it was at least a couple of years ago, I'm guessing. And since then, you've tried to get on several cards, but fights have fallen through, kind of like we're having the issue now. Do you feel like that for some reason, with you being a black belt in karate, that it's just hard to find a fight for you?
Absolutely. I feel like at least recently, I've seen a lot of memes on social media, a lot of people making jokes about karate, but if you look at karate and mixed martial arts, the greatest mixed martial artist of all time as far as UFC is concerned, George St. Pierre, he comes from the exact same background as I have. One of the first champions to make it undefeated, 17-0 in the UFC, was Lyoto Machida, another karate background. And then we saw the Conor McGregor phenomenon, which he also uses the karate style, as well as Anderson Silva, some considered the greatest of all time. So I feel like karate is definitely, it puts a lot of fear in people. It's very unique, but now I'm much more than just a karate fighter. So the longer these guys wait, the more well-rounded I'm getting every single day.
Well, I tell you, I'm excited to see you display your skills in there again. And as we're doing this interview, I'm here to ask the tough questions. And really the toughest question right now, I know on my mind and a lot of other people's mind out there is, you tried to do something big in the last event, I believe it was Rage in the Cage 63, where you tried to cut down, I believe it was 2 weight classes from what you normally fight at to fight a particular fighter, and that being Nick Weaver. And you last minute had to rehydrate, and you come in a few pounds over the weight allowance, so obviously for the title fight, but you still could have fought. I think you were still within the guidelines that the Athletic Foundation has set forward, where you still could have had a fight. So of course there's some animosity between you and Nick Weaver. Tell me a little bit about how you felt in that moment, through the weight cut. What do you feel like went wrong, and then how you're kind of moving forward through that, and kind of the big social media debacle that has resulted from all of that. So a lot of questions there.
As far as the weight cut went, I did my best. Like I said, we've had a hard time getting me fights since my debut. So I had a person that I knew was going to show up for the fight, so I was taking a chance and getting as low as possible. The reason why I took the fight is because people say that if you're 185, if you do it perfectly, you can cut down to 55. And I followed the regime that I was given, but I feel like the problem was that I didn't take into consideration how lean I am already at my walk-around weight, and considering the fact that when I'm not in training for a fight, I'm even heavier than my walk-around weight when I am in training for a fight. So I pushed my body to the limit. One thing my father said when I started cramping and I had to rehydrate in the saunas is he was saying that at least we got to see how strong my mind is, that my mind is truly stronger than my body, because I was getting in and out of the sauna ready to keep going, but my body was shutting down. Literally, like, my abs were like all cramping, trying to become one. It didn't stop for hours and hours. So I did my best. I took a risk and I came up a little bit short, but if a missed weight cut is the worst thing we have to talk about in my mixed martial arts or martial arts career period, I feel like I'm on the right track.
That's a tough learning lesson. I guess the only good thing, Austin, is you're learning that in your amateur career, and weight cuts and all of that stuff, that's when you perfected is in your amateur career. So, I feel like you're right where you need to be. So, you're training now, obviously, with TJ Tomlin, becoming more well-rounded fighter. You talked a lot about your karate background. So, what do you feel like your strengths are now in your fight game?
Like when my first fight, I basically was just in there with just karate and wrestling. Now I feel like I've added the holes in my boxing, from just karate hands to adding the Western boxing hands, And then I'm just way more comfortable on the ground. I don't have to fight for a top position. I can fight from the bottom. I'm confident with sweeps, with getting up. I'm confident everywhere the fight goes. So instead of fighting more of like a Conor McGregor approach, like I feel like I was fighting before, now I'm fighting more of a well-rounded approach. Wherever the fight goes, I'm confident.
You know, as we are recording this interview, I'm really hoping that we get you another amateur fight and you can get a few more amateur fights under your belt. But are you hoping to eventually go pro and kind of make a living out of this?
If you ask anybody that's known me, I've believed I'm the best fighter in the world since I was 4 years old. So I'm just trying to, as I'm older now, I'm trying to just be more humble and just trust God's plan for my life. I've been competing not in mixed martial arts, but I've been putting my health on the line in martial arts competition since 1994, and God's never let me down. So I'm just gonna continue to stay the course, try to not try to force anything, you know what I mean? Stay within God's will. I know that He has a timing for everything, but when the time comes to go pro, I expect to not only win but be a champion.
Well, definitely I have an amen to say to that, because I feel like that staying in God's will and really being in the right place at the right time in your life and just knowing where He wants you and being obedient to that is really important. So anyways, we will stop the sermon for now, and hopefully you join us for Rage in the Cage 64 at the Lucky Star Casino. One last thing, Austin, any shout outs or any sponsors before we wrap it up?
I'd like to give a shout out to all of American Elite, my head coach TJ Tomlin, my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, my beautiful girlfriend. I love you guys so much. I'd like to give a shout out to Pirium, to Neil, Celeste. You guys are awesome, and the city of Edmond. I love you.
All right, and fight fans, we love you, and we hope you join us for Rage in the Cage 64. It's going down March 22nd at the Lucky Star Casino in Clinton, and as I'm speaking right now, we are down to less than 50 tickets, so contact those favorite fighters, get on stubware.com, and we hope to see you there. If you don't happen to get a ticket, you can also catch us on 5 TV. See you then.